Hello. The King James Bible University, KJBU, is a place of learning dedicated solely to what thus said the Lord our God. The KJBU is not connected to, affiliated with, nor associated with any Christian camp, denomination, or external organization. We stand exclusively on the 1611 King James Bible with the Apocrypha, and all teachings, whether from elders, deacons, or brethren, are grounded strictly in the instructions and truth found within the text alone. Our focus remains on rightly dividing the word of truth as it is written, without addition, subtraction, or outside influence. So, hey, and shalom. Welcome to the lesson. So today, this one is about, as the title suggests, made perfect, clarification, whole. And whole is defined, according to the Spiritual Dictionary, devoted, entire, sound, complete, and then unbroken or unblemished. And we know one thing that is all those, and that's the Word of God. So we're going to be going through a little story that is all too familiar to all those that are in the truth. The woman with the blood issue. So let's get into it. So we'll be picking it up at Mark 5 and 25, going down to Mark 34. And got the Spiritual Dictionary over here on the right. Gonna occasionally be popping over there. So, and it reads Mark 5 and 25. And a certain woman, spirit, which had an issue of blood, which we know lifestyle, 12 years. 26. And had suffered many things of many physicians, and had spent all that she had, and was nothing bettered, but rather grew worse. Let's back this bus up. Take a look at that physician, and we're going to boil it down real quick. So walk with me as I get nosy and go through these little bad babies. And now what I'm looking for, according to everything that's right there, now I'm looking for, okay. So physicians tying us to a healer or doctor, but this is got worse, nothing bettered. So not what we're looking for. Okay, let's check that doctor. Since it's tying. Oh, not looking good. Teacher of the law, scribe. We know who they run with. Yep, right there. Pharisee. And boom. Spider. Evangelist Travis just had a lesson about this. So, pushing forward, now we know that these many physicians, those in the buildings in these eminent places on every corner. So pushing forward, verse 27, and it reads, when she had heard of Jesus' salvation, so this is JEHOVAH, came in the press behind him, press crowd, and touched his garment. Another quick pause to see what is meant by touched his garment. And it'll actually be easy if I do this. Should have done this before. Okay, here we go. And to touch is the handle. So let's see. Where is that? Nope, wrong way. There we go. Actually, yeah. And here is what she did. So, touched his garment. Proverbs 31:9. Open thy mouth, reveal the message. Judge righteously, teach righteously, and including plead the cause of the poor and needy. Speaking spiritually, not carnally, for poor and needy, spiritually. Another place that can be found of what she did, Mark 1:3. It reads, Mark 1:3, the voice of one crying in the wilderness, prepare ye the way of the Lord, the Creator. Make his paths straight. This is her. Yeah. So, Mark 5:27, pressing forward. 28. Oh, forgot to roll that down. And it reads, 28, for she said, if I may touch but his clothes, I shall be whole. I shall be whole. That's conviction right there in that sentence. And as we know, touch but his clothes, that's that robe, that righteousness. But yeah, keying in on that, I shall be whole. Pushing forward, 5:29, and straightway the fountain of her blood, lifestyle, was dried up, complete thought, and she felt in her body that she was healed of that plague. And okay. Oh yeah, okay, so straightway the fountain of her blood was dried up, lifestyle dried up, just like when we left those buildings. All right, shut off the water to that, turned on the hot water to JEHOVAH, and got to grinding. That's what's going on right there. And I can relate to this back half. She felt in her body that she was healed of that plague, that affliction, that tribulation. Pushing forward, 30. And Jesus, JEHOVAH, looking at who's talking at the bottom, salvation, immediately knowing in himself that virtue had gone out of him, turned him about in the press, that crowd, and said, who touched my clothes? So who calling out his way? That righteousness, that virtue? Who doing it? Pushing forward. 5:31. And his disciples said unto him, thou seest the multitude thronging, also means crowding, like when a celebrity pops up and everyone turns all super geek. Pushing forward. And sayest thou, who touched me? 32. And he looked round about to see her that had done this thing. that thing was the voice crying out in the wilderness from Mark 1 and 3. So, Mark 5 and 33. But the woman, spirit, fearing and trembling, reverence, knowing what was done in her, because she felt healed, came and fell down before him and told him all the truth. Pure confession right there. Worship and confession. But let's not get it twisted. Not worshiping the man. Not worshiping flesh. That does not go down. Well, it does for the rest of the world, but not over here. And quick pit stop. Quick pit stop. Headed over to Numbers 23:19 to why we don't worship a man as God. And it reads Numbers 23:19. God is not a man. It can really just be a complete stop right there. However, including that he should lie. Boom. There's the complete thought. Really just needed that part. God is not a man that he should lie. So, pushing forward back to Mark 5 and 33. Pushing to 34 now. And he said unto her, daughter, faithful follower, thy faith hath made thee whole. Complete thought. Go in peace, including the whole of thy plague. And we looked at whole earlier, but if you check the right side of the screen, gonna roll back to that little ditty. So, devoted, entire, sound, complete, focusing in on unbroken, because thy faith hath made thee whole. So, that devotion to his word, which is perfect, holding to it diligently, remain unbroken. So, surprise, that's what this is all about. Overcoming through faith the afflictions, the calamities, the ups and downs that we may feel when, we're on this walk, be they internal or external. Side note, internal is much worse, as it tends to linger until death for many. Let's not be included in that number. But yeah, transformative power, faithfully applying Jehovah's wisdom. So from here, we are going to pop back over to Numbers 23 and 19. As mentioned earlier, God is not a man that he should lie. And continuing after the complete thought, neither the Son of Man that he should repent. Clarification, hath he said, and shall he not do it? Question. Or hath he spoken, and shall he not make it good? Keying in on that make. Let's run it. 20 hits. Okay, let's get there a little quicker. There we go. So, make, create, form, build, fashion, produce, cause, craft, build. That's what we're looking at here. Shall he not build it good? Or passionate? Produce it? Because in my situation, I came in empty and broken. And slowly got built back up with what came down. And we know what came down. Let's run to it. Wisdom of Solomon 18:15. I should have just clicked that out there. But, oh, here we go. This works. And Wisdom of Solomon 18:15. Thine almighty word leaped down from out of thy royal throne, as comparing as a fierce man, male or female, of war, into the midst of a land, nation, body of destruction. And to further back that up, let's head on over to Psalms, and 107 is where we're going. 20. So, Psalms 107 and 20. He sent his word and healed them and delivered them from their destructions. And you can see the cliffhanger. Well, not much of a cliffhanger. A little swing there. Note to remember, though. Just a tidbit to remember. I'm going to use the left screen right here. Yeah. Going to head over to too far. Actually, let's go with the right one. James, which, okay, I wasn't far enough. 3:17, and it reads, applying to the word that came down, but the wisdom that is from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, and easy to be entreated, full of mercy and good fruits, without partiality and without hypocrisy. So, with that in mind, doing things, utilizing his word properly, applying that faith daily is key. So, let's head over to 1 Corinthians 14. That's 13. So close. 14 and 40. And this is another hotline that I like. 1 Corinthians 14:40. Let all things be done decently and in order. Because, yeah, the reason why I like this little baby is this is logistics 101. That approach to the process, all things decently and in order. Like, yeah, this is, okay, so for logistics, securing the inner moving parts of the vessel that's moving through the air. You know, get it? Yeah. Our body's like an airplane moving through the air. Spirit. Okay, little goofy moment. But moving forward, the goal is to achieve balance by spreading the load evenly across the entire vessel and not penetrate the floor, supporting any load of the vessel. Pressure testing is important prior to performing active load bearing or upgrading, because for any vessel really, the base can only take so much pressure. Ever heard pressure bust pipes? Yeah. So same concept applies. Be it software or an aircraft floor, something spills through or melts the floor, boom, hazard. Lives can be lost. So, bearing that in mind, though pressure testing, let's head on over to Luke 14 and 28. And just to kind of reiterate for pressure testing prior to active engagement. And Luke 14:28 reads, and this is going to go to 30, starting at 28. For which of you, intending to build a tower, sitteth not down first and counted the cost, whether he have sufficient to finish it? 29. Lest haply, I didn't run that one. Let's go live. Oh, not there. Okay. I know lest is in case, perchance, and fear in case. Okay. Okay, get to that later. Pressing forward, 29, lest haply, so in case haply, after he hath laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, all that behold it begin to mock. And no one likes to be mocked and ridiculed. Pressing forward, Luke 14:30, saying, this man, male or female, began to build and was not able to finish. So, pressure testing. Let all things be done decently and in order. 1 Corinthians 14:40. And this applying to securing the inner components, making sure we're living according to the Spirit. I can only speak for myself. This is an individual thing that we all must do. Be it individuals within the vessel of Jehovah's body, or wherever we're out and about. But all things done decently and in order. So, back to securing that harmony internally, living according to the Spirit. Spirit. Heading over to Exodus 21. So close. And 23. Nice little precept sandwich set up here for you. And it reads, and if any man, male or female, I'm just heading back over here. And if any mischief, displeasure follow, then thou shalt give life for life. And that's a part of the being done decently and in order. That's the very first step. Giving up the old life and stepping into the new. You know what? I went to the wrong spot. Let's double down on this as to why. And heading over to Hebrews 10:1. Because the old life, looking at Hebrews 10:1, this applies. For the law, having a shadow, casted image, similitude of good things to come, and not the very image of the things, can never, with those established covenants, sacrifices, which they offered year by year, continually, make the comers thereunto perfect, whole, complete, faithful. Because if you know you got a parachute, oh, if I mess up, let me just go sacrifice this goat, good to go, do it again. Never stops. So, that's not a perfect system. And we know the word of Jehovah is perfect. So, from the carnal to spirit, life for life, Exodus 21:23, the double down, Galatians, sound pretty twangy with that, okay. 3 and 24, and it reads, Galatians 3 and 24, wherefore, for that reason, the law was our schoolmaster to bring us unto Christ, Jehovah, that we might be justified by faith. That devotion, that belief. So, jumping over to Exodus 21:24 now, and it reads, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. Understanding, so the carnal understanding for spiritual understanding. The carnal, what was tooth again? Carnal suffering, that pain and suffering according to the flesh, now the pain and suffering according to the spirit. That hand, that power, guidance, authority according to the flesh, now according to the spirit. And that desire, path, walk, or foundation that we tread for the flesh now transfers over to the spirit. And to back that up, I'm going to head over to Hebrews, which down here, where is it? 11:25. And Hebrews 11:25 reads, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of God than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season. Just to support the Exodus 21 and 24, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. Yep, swapping over from that flesh to the spirit and suffer affliction with the people of God. Much better place to be. Good company. Trust me. Oh, don't have to trust me. Trust Jehovah. So, pressing forward, bearing this in mind, we're going to mosey on over to the warning, which is coming out of Mark 2 and 22. And it reads, and including no man, male or female, putteth new wine that joy, faith, into old bottles. Clarification, else the new, familiar, wine, joy, faith, doth burst the bottles, that vessel, and the wine, joy, faith, is spilled. That's a waste. Including the bottles will be marred. Which, guessing destroyed, but I'd rather pull it up. Damaged. Okay. Marred is damaged, spoiled, defaced, disfigured, blemished, ruined. Okay. Pressing forward, Mark 2:22, after the clarification. But new, familiar wine, faith, joy, must be put into new, familiar bottles, vessels, our bodies, which, further backing up, Exodus 21:24, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot, complete swap over. And now the old further clarification. And for this, we're going to get that from Paul. I read just use a new tab, new window. Here we go. And yeah, 2 Corinthians. Okay. So beginning at 2 Corinthians 6:14, and gonna hit 15. Keeping in mind that putting in new, swapping over from the living according to the flesh to living according to the spirit, a complete transition, and suffering with those that have already done the same, basically living with the children of God, remaining within the will. 2 Corinthians 6:14 reads, "Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers." So crucial. Clarification: for what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness? And what communion hath light with darkness? And that yoke, that is serving together. In a nutshell, following Jehovah, but worshiping in the building, a church building with whoever. That's unequally yoked. Following that path, submitting to Jehovah and Satan is. So heading to verse 15, 2 Corinthians 6:15. And actually, you know what? I just gave that whole spiel and didn't do the rundown. Leviticus 19 and 19. And it reads, Leviticus 19:19, "Ye shall keep my statutes. Thou shalt not let thy cattle gender with a diverse kind. Thou shalt not sow thy field with mingled seed. Neither shall a garment mingled of linen and woolen come upon thee." That cattle, that's doctrine or people. And gonna run it. There we go. Thou shalt not let thy doctrines gender with a diverse kind. And that diverse is corrupt, perverse. But we can run it right here. Divers ways. Double. Strange. Unfamiliar. Devilish. Yeah. So continuing with 2 Corinthians 6:15. "And what concord hath Christ Jehovah with Belial? Or what part hath he that believeth with an infidel?" And an infidel is an unbeliever. Yeah, there we go. Unbelief, infidel, without faith, heathen. Yeah. It always goes back to heathen. So, there's that. And, Okay. And let's head on over to same chapter, 2 Corinthians 6, but now we're looking at 10. Well, starting at 9. this is what we're going to be, well, as many of us are dealing with now, as we are on this walk and walking. This is how we're walking. 2 Corinthians 6 and 9. As unknown and yet well known. Complete thought. As dying and including, behold, remember, we live. Complete thought. As chastened, so disciplined, which let's run it. Sorrow of God. Convicted, reproved, accused, judged, determined. Ooh, yeah. Okay. And that's really what I wanted. Determined. So, back to 2 Corinthians 6:9. As chastened and not killed. Verse 10. I almost hit the wrong arrow. As sorrowful, yet always rejoicing. Complete thought. As poor, yet making many rich. Complete thought. As having nothing, and yet possessing all things. So, instructions moving forward. Still looking at this logistical approach. Securing the inner. All things being done decently and in order. Maintaining that hotline. And I'm just going to pull it up one more time. And now, looking at Leviticus already here on. So, okay, gotta do it this way. Heading over to Leviticus 20 and 25. Leviticus 20 and 25. There we go. And it reads, Ye shall therefore put difference between clean beasts, and let's run that. And that is fire. Okay. Oh, I'm in the animal. Okay. Let's wonder. There we go. Between clean beasts, and that's living creatures, evil men, leviathan, dragons, adversaries, which it really ties to a lot of things. Clean beasts and unclean. And between unclean fowls, which ties to spirits, and clean. Clarification. And ye shall not make your souls abominable by beasts or by fowl, which let's run the fowl. Tying us to bird, creature, dove, which pure, eagle, swings both ways. But here we go. Angels, spirits of heaven, more clarification, spirit, good or bad, birds, prince of power of the air, young man. There's a dove or a raven. That dove is the pure one. That raven is ravenous. That's a destroyer. So, making a difference between the beast, the fowl, or any manner of living thing that creepeth on the ground, which I have separated from you as unclean. And this is the Spirit of God speaking. True to the point. Verse 1 right here. Same chapter. And the Lord, the Spirit of God, spake unto Moses, saying, and we were down in, 25? This is the top of the chapter. So, pushing forward on this journey, the instructions that we were given, which came much later, but still apply. We're going to head over to Matthew 5:48. Be ye therefore for that reason perfect, whole, devoted, unbroken, even as your Father, JEHOVAH, who is in heaven, or excuse me, which is in heaven, is perfect. And so, heading on over to Ephesians, let's use this one over here. And we're going to Ephesians, missed it, 5:1. And a reason. And we're going to head down, get 1 and 2 here. And keep it in mind, being perfect as our Father in heaven is perfect. Ephesians 5:1. Be ye, therefore, for that reason, followers of God. Comparing, dear children. Verse 2. And walk in love, promise, as comparing Christ, JEHOVAH, also hath loved us, and hath given, so that was Yahusha, and hath loved us, and hath given himself for us an offering and a sacrifice established covenant, JEHOVAH. As JEHOVAH also hath loved us, and hath given himself, Yahweh, Yahweh, JEHOVAH, okay. Forgive me, I kind of mixed it up a little bit. I know who's the top dog, but mixed it up. And hath given himself for us an offering for a sacrifice, established covenant to God. For a sweet smelling savor. So, from here, we're going to head over to Matthew, time. So, this will be part 1. A little build up to something. So I'll end it with this one. Matthew 9:29. And it reads, Then touched he their eyes, understandings. Keep it in mind, Exodus 21:23 and 24, swapping over eye for eye from carnal to spiritual. He touched their eyes, here at Matthew 9:29, saying, According to your faith, belief, devotion, be it unto you. And that's pretty solid. According to our individual faith, devotion, and belief, will show and be what we get out. As every walk is different. So, I truly wish I could pass this feeling on to you. Just separate the body like here, hold this for a moment. Oh yeah, I want that back. Like how he wants his wisdom back. I want that back. But anyway, thank you for coming out. I hope someone was edified. And until the next portion of this, because definitely ran short on time here, because I see how much more there is to go. And yeah. Till next time, I thank you and shalom.